Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is Monday, January the 14th, and this is a quick hit on SLV, GLD, and GDX. So, away we go. Alright, so here we are starting off with silver. Did a video on this a few days ago, set in the daily running thread, which hasn't really been posting too much there, simply because it's been very busy during the day, but anyways, we said back here, boop, that we had exited silver in the green and did not like the way that it was moving, looking for a re-entry at a better price, and that you know, this was, at least at the time, was going sideways and expecting more to the downside, but I was also saying that we could have some movement to the upside, and that's exactly what's happening. I don't believe that this will be sustained, at least not at the moment. If it were to break and hold above the previous high, I would be massively worried from a bearish standpoint and forget the whole thing. But do I like what it's doing now? Yes, I do. Today we have a really nice move up outside of the upper Bollinger Band. Hanging Man, you could sort of say this is at the top of a possible range, but really this is the spot that I am really focused on. And we did close above the 200-day moving average today, also a positive sign, but I don't think that things are really as nice as they would appear. The daily chart looks pretty darn bullish. I mean, you'd look at this and say, oof. Silver is going back up. We have the 14-day RSI moving average curling up. We have all of the secondaries moving on up together. This is a bullish chart. Yep. And they would be right. But there's a couple things here. We have the long-term moving average bar, which is, or at least should be, difficult. We have the previous high. That should be difficult as well. And every time this sucker rises up, it falls. Today it was caught, but it was still a red day, candle-wise, not position-wise. Beyond that, what do we have, right? A few very interesting things. For one, secondaries are already either high, or they'll be really high really fast. And what do we have with that? Well, we have this. There's going to be some conjecture in here, but previous high, I think that is roundabout where it will top out. That would be some penetration into the long-term moving average bar, be about 30.50 roundabout, and I would think we'll run out of gas about that time, at least in a majority of the secondaries, and then can assume that it would go down for a reset before finishing out its move to the upside if it doesn't crash through the previous floor. Now, the previous floor is pretty interesting because we can do this. Might not get this absolutely perfect. That's pretty nice. Pretty close. And we can assume that it's going to go up. Maybe it'll break the high, maybe it won't. But let's just say that it fails just before. This is a little bit of conjecture. What would you end up with? Two parallel lines, a channel, and assuming that these are at the overbought area by the time it gets here, and then also assuming that it runs it into problems with the long-term moving average bar, maybe it pierces it with a tail and closes this gap fill, and then if it were to go down, that would establish this channel, and then you just have a tail hanging out of it. Not pretty, but possibly doable, maybe. So just some conjecture. This might totally be wrong, but it would be very interesting to see this get established. This top line might be a little different angle, and then go back down to test the bottom, and then see if it breaks or not. We chop around here for a while. That would be great. Could make some on the up and the down and the up and the down until it breaks one way or the other. To me, this is the optimal setup. Optimal. But we're not going to know for a couple of days. Beyond that, 60-minute time frame. Daily does look bullish. There's no doubt about it. No doubt. What do we have? 60-minute time frame. Well, we could go up here, make that tail, and the question in the 60-minute time frame will be, do we get a higher MACD histogram reading, or are we able to stay equal with this one or less than this one? In either case, you have negative divergence, if that happens. If that happens. You also have the 200-day moving average moving on in the, that's not the 200-day moving average. What is this? It is the 200-day moving average. Ha! Alright, 200-day moving average here. There should be some interaction with it in the 60-minute time frame. Beyond that, what do we have? Negative divergence in the RSI. The RSI, slightly positive, not great. The stochastics and the 14-day RSI moving average are pretty high in a non-blown up version of the 60-minute time frame. So, should these run out of time soon? Yes, they should. They can get stuck up here for a little while, so it would be nice to see that divergence play out. We have a topping area in the heat map, so time is getting short, and I like this area, this general area right here. Love it. So I will be playing that if it gets there, and we'll see if it does. And we'll see what happens right after that, because it might be a short trade and jumping out with a small loss if it continues and goes on its merry way. But anyways, that's my feelings on SLV. Moving on to GLD. And for once, GLD is not as strong as silver. I guess the two like to go back and forth. It is not as strong above the 200-day moving average as silver is in the daily time frame. It's not a pretty candle. It's not at the top of a possible range. It is not good. You can see here that I drew in a line which doesn't exactly connect perfectly before, when I was playing with this a little while ago. And this is just for fun and making a possible ascending trend line. Something to test, maybe break, who knows. But a little more to the upside, it has alignment with the secondary similar to silver, where this one would go to the upside. That major price consensus level just above 164 seems likely, which is the previous high. And that actually would beat the bar, so kind of interesting that target is a little bit higher. Beyond that, what do we have to look at? Well, we have this gap fill down here, and I am going to make a level there. And what that does is show us, if this were to turn in a few days, with silver, we would have this to conquer, and this to hit or break, question mark. But nice to have the idea of where it could go to the downside. 60-minute time frame, just like SLV, looks pretty darn bad. Won't go through it just because time. And of course, we still have negative divergence in. Do we? No, we're not going to have negative divergence here anyway. So scrap that idea, but it is existent in silver. And GDX, the miners. Very interesting. Save the best for last, right? Well, still below the 200-day moving average. Unlike silver, unlike gold, it should get there because of silver and gold. And it should be very telling if it's unable to beat it. And if it fails here or before here, should take the metals with it. So this is a chart of weakness. And that's fine with me. Beyond that, what do we have? Well, we could make a line here, but it is ugly. I don't really care for that, but I'll leave that there for the moment. I like this one better. Yeah. So actually, you know what? I'm not going to leave it there. I'm going to get rid of it. I like that line. And with that line, I also like... this one. I guess you could play with this a little bit, but I'm going to say that one. A couple little pierces, but that's okay. So relatively parallel, could get up to the 47 area, and then if it works out like silver does, or silver could, then we could also have a nice channel here to play with. But it is very early. Beyond that, what do we have to work with? Well, even greater than silver, fast stochastic, very high. Very interesting. So, to me, this is the worst of gold and silver. It does have a little bit more than gold and silver to the upside in the case of the channel, but all of them, they all look like they could go up a little bit or some, and then the magic question will be, do they crap out? And I think that the answer is very possibly yes. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video are for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Thank you very much.